So ASpectrum came about in August of 2020. And the reason that it came about was I was off work on leave. My son, who's also my business partner and co-founder of ASpectrum, who identifies as being neurodivergent, was off after just recently graduating from U of T with his degree in psychology. And so he was looking at sort of the labor market force through the lens of a new employee. And I was looking at the labor market lens through the lens of someone who'd been working in the labor market sector for 15 plus years. And we kind of were wondering what we could do to be part of change and something positive. And so ASpectrum kind of came from that. And our mantra has always been connecting aptitude to opportunity, which means seeing people and meeting people where they are and connecting them to resources and supports and employment that is meaningful and competitive. And so in an attempt to reach that goal, ASpectrum was formed. It's limitless really in where it can go, because there's always going to be a need to support people. People are always going to need individualized supports, and that's something that we really pride ourselves on, is that we really work to support the person based on their unique strengths and needs, and also as an advocate for their competitive employment. We work quite closely with the employers as well. But where we see ASpectrum headed in the future, we've been very successful in the first year with our coaching initiatives. So what we've done is actually employed 12 to 15 integration support coaches who are able to go on site and work virtually as a result of the pandemic, of course, to support people on the job. And that can range from folks that are working in positions like financial analyst, to folks that are working in factories, to folks that are working in grocery stores, to students. So it's been a really interesting journey. But where we see ASpectrum headed in the future, we've noticed and identified a real gap in recruitment. And what we're working on right now is streamlining a process and a recruitment tool that will really efficiently link neurodivergent individuals to competitive employment and supported employers. And that's what we see the future is headed for, where we see the future is headed for ASpectrum. There's been so many different scenarios. We've supported classrooms, we've supported one-on-ones, we've supported cooking classes, we've supported folks in finding employment right through pre-employment support, getting them ready for an interview, assisting them throughout the interview, like actually attending the interview with them. We've assisted people with negotiating their benefits package. We've even called people at 5 a.m. to get them up to go to work because they needed that extra nudge and support. So it's based on the needs of the individual, and we always really, as I said, pride ourselves on seeking out the support that person needs and providing it to them in a way that makes them successful. Well, as I mentioned, definitely implementation of our recruitment tool, I think, is going to revolutionize how talent and acquisition is approached for neurodivergent individuals, and the efficiency that we're going to introduce to the model is probably, I don't think, in existence yet. We're also really looking at building out one-stop shop, if you will, or an ecosystem or marketplace of supports and services that neurodivergent individuals are able to access in terms of a multitude of supports, because we recognize that sometimes folks need employment is one piece of the social determinants of health, but there's also things like mental health supports and food security and housing, and all of those things come into play, and I think folks should have access to those resources concurrently in their search for employment. So we have some great community partners. We've been very fortunate early on to land a contract with Ready, Willing, and Able, a national organization that supports autistic individuals in their employment goals, as well as people with intellectual disabilities. We're partnered as well with McMaster University in developing a program of support with them. We also we're on a variety of committees and networks, Ontario Chamber of Commerce, we're part of our own Board of Trade here in Ajax Pickering. And the list goes on and on. Actually, it's been really exciting to see the reach that we're getting. People are now reaching out to us, and organizations are coming to us and asking for support. Recently, we were approached by YMCA Toronto, which is really exciting, to be able to support some of their clients and their job participants. So it's been an exciting journey, and I see we've only kind of hit the tip of the iceberg. The sky's the limit right now. We're everywhere cool kids are, so we're on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, what's the other one? Facebook, the one the old people use. Yes, Facebook. And don't forget our website, which is www.aspectrum.ca.
All right. Thank you for the interview, Karen.
Thanks, Hot. It's been a real pleasure.